Today we're talking about electronic expansion valves. If you haven't checked out our 3D video yet, I highly recommend you check out our description below and click the link and go check it out. Today we're going to talk about not just any type of electronic expansion valve, we're going to talk about two different types and how to test them. And you're like, well, wait a minute, there's EEVs in AC equipment? Yeah, they're everywhere. Let me show you. Yes, this has an EEV. This has an EEV. This also has an EEV. This does not have an EEV. And last but not least, this has an EEV. Now that you've seen where they are, right, proved it to you, now we want to talk about how we troubleshoot them. Now with electronic expansion valves such as this, right, we can check them electrically and see if they've actually failed with a multimeter, which we talk about in our 3D video. And I always reference the service manual when looking at those electrical resistance readings to ensure that the valve that you're testing is within the range that the manufacturer specifies is correct and accurate. But what if this tests good and this isn't the actual problem? Well, then what you're going to want to do now is you're going to want to go over to TrueTechTools.com and purchase an EEVMate manual driver tool. Now we showcased it at the end of this 3D video, but today we're actually going to show you how to use it, what is it, and what do you do with it. Because at the end of the day, once you test it electrically, there isn't a whole lot of other checks that you can do to ensure that the internal components of these valves have not failed without a tool like this. So let's get into it. So what comes with your EEVMate tool? Well, obviously the device itself, but you also get a nice little battery caddy that goes on the base of the tool that allows you to actually plug in the tool using a 9-volt battery on the back side that lets you use it one-handed, right? Very important. The other thing it comes with is a cable. Now there are different types of cables for mini splits, and those vary based upon the actual connection pin spacing and how many connections there are. Now the tool that it comes with works on most EEVs out there, but you might find a few units out there in the wild that this doesn't fit up on. They have adapter cables for that, and I highly recommend you go to TrueTechTools website to look into that as well. And last but not least, it comes with a USB cable in case you're old school like me and you like to plug it into an outlet or maybe a battery bank itself back over to the device itself. But those are the things that it comes with that are very important. You don't want to lose those, otherwise this tool isn't going to be anything else but a paperweight. Now this device allows us to manually actuate the valve using the same EEV drivers that most PCB boards have on inverter equipment, mini splits, and VRF. So that tells us that we can take this, plug it in, and manually actuate the valve. Now what am I talking about? Let's go take a look. Now we talked about testing it, but first let's talk about the two different types of electronic expansion valves. There is the gear-driven direct drive, and there is the indirect drive EEV. And as you can see, they somewhat look similar. But from our 3D video, we break down the differences between the two and how they work. Mainly the biggest difference is that the direct drive has two commons on these windings here, and this one has one. So the number of wires is 6 as opposed to 5. Now if we come over here and look at this, on my test unit, you can see here where I have both of those expansion valves installed somewhat on the same circuit. Now, when we talk about the EEVMate, we talked about powering up this device. Now, you can use a 9-volt battery that comes with it. Ooh, fancy. Or, if you're old school, maybe you want to use an extension cord and a USB drive, like this. Whatever you do, do not use a laptop to power this device. It doesn't work. You've been told. For this demonstration, we're going to use the 9-volt battery. Now with the 9-volt battery, it does come with a nice little caddy. I'll just put it on real quick. Plugs in like this, which allows you hands-free. So this is the battery caddy made of TPU. It's actually designed to hold the 9-volt battery on the backside so that you can do simply one-hand control. Now with the EEVMate, there is the display. When you turn it on, it says the name, but it also tells you the number of steps or pulses. Now this is important because if we're going to manually drive this, I can drive it up, which is positive pulses, or I can drive it down, which once we get past 0 goes into negative pulses. Understanding the type of electronic expansion valve that you have, whether it's a 0 to 2000, or if it's a 0 to 480, right, with this indirect drive, is important. You don't want to overdrive the valve too much, although you can in some troubleshooting scenarios. Now, with this demonstration, we're going to take the wire from our indirect drive down here at the bottom, and you're going to notice there are 5 wires. You'll notice that one wire is spaced out apart from all the other wires. That wire is our common wire. Always reference the service manual to understand what windings go in what order and also where the common wire is located. On my EEVMate tool, I have a cable with 6 prongs. Remember, this is designed for 6-pin and also 5-pin. Now there are other EEVs that have more pins than that, but typically it's 4 windings, 1 common or 2 commons. With this, there is a nice little red mark on the side of my plug. This indicates the common is on this end. So now that I take my 2 connections here and I connect my red, right, on the side here with my gray, like that. And there's my connection. Red pin matches the gray side, and I'm ready to go. Now with my driver, I'm going to go ahead and restart it so it goes back to 0 pulses. And from there, I'm going to go ahead and pressurize my system with some nitrogen. We're now at 400 psi of nitrogen. Now watch what happens when I modulate my indirect drive right here, my outlet, with positive pulses. It opens, and I close it. And it's open, and I close it. And that's what this valve does. It allows you to bypass the main PCB board and manually actuate the valve whether the system is running or if it's off and you're trying to establish if the internal components are in fact stuck. It's a useful tool in troubleshooting. Now the other side of troubleshooting this tool is I have the ability to actually push in the joystick and go up. This initiates turbo mode, which actually drives the tool 10 times faster than a normal PCB. Why is that important? Well, maybe my valve is slightly stuck or isn't modulating like it's supposed to. All right, that is our indirect drive, EEV. Now let's go to our direct drive. Now this one's a little bit different, and I've actually cut the wires off because remember, colors and orientation is important, but it's the same concept. Here you can see I have 6 wires, and I have 6 pins on my plug. Now for this, the brown and the red are the common, and so I'm going to line it up with my red plug here and plug it in. Now this valve has failed, and you can kind of hear it leaking by just a little bit. So what I'm going to do is reset my driver and turn it back on. And for this one, I'm going to go ahead and initiate turbo mode, a mode that you would use to drive the EEV 10 times faster than a normal PCB. The important thing there is that when you run it in turbo mode, it's designed to cause a valve that might be stuck that needs a little bit more torque to open up or to close down a valve and get it to close fully that might be bleeding by. So we drive it in turbo mode, which is 10 times the speed of a normal PCB driver. And the reason we would do something like that or need a tool that can do something like that is because if a valve is stuck and not closed all the way, or a valve is stuck and won't open up, we can force it open and possibly get it unstuck. Now, I would still recommend that you replace the internal components of that expansion valve if it is stuck or sticking, but this tool allows you to test that and kind of pull something out of your toolbox that you normally wouldn't have access to. There's no way to manually force the unit to open and close an expansion valve outside of turning it on and off. And even then, that doesn't work all the time. And so a tool like this can be extremely useful. So if I drive it pretty fast, drive it back down closed. Now remember, this is designed to stop those bleeds, stop that refrigerant from flowing into the coil when the unit is off or supposed to be off. It's a device that's allowed me to say that yes, this expansion valve works electrically and also this valve has failed internally because you can hear it leaking by. I'm going to recommend replacement. But I was able to test that because I had a tool like this. Now wait, before you run off and go buy an EEVMate from TrueTech Tools, make sure that you listen to these words carefully because these are the 2 tales of caution with using a tool like this. When we disconnect EEVs from outdoor equipment, indoor units, whatever it may be, the board that it's connected to, you have to remember that this is overriding that signal and you're driving those valves. Where you leave those valves is very important. If you drive that valve to 200 pulses, 300 pulses, 2,000 pulses, and then plug it back into the main board, the outdoor unit, whatever it is, the unit doesn't know where you left that valve at. So if you leave it somewhere off of 0 pulses, anything higher than that, plug it back into the equipment, turn the power back on, it's going to think that it's back at 0 pulses when it's not. And now it's going to be uncalibrated. And what happens with an uncalibrated EV? It causes all sorts of problems in pieces of equipment. So if you're going to use a tool like this, you have to ensure that you leave those valve pulses back at 0. That means driving them all the way closed from where you put them when you manually drove them with this tool. And that goes for every EEV that you touch with a tool like this. The second caveat, some expansion valves, especially gear-driven expansion valves that go up to 2,000 pulses on indoor units, very famous EEVs and Daikin indoor units, can be overdriven open because it's a gear-driven type where a spindle sits inside of a device that when you drive it too high or too open, it'll actually disconnect that spindle from the gears. So what's the safest way to drive a valve? Well, knowing the range of that valve from 0 to 2,000 or 0 to 480 pulses is extremely important, but also understanding that the safest position to drive it to is closed or 0 pulses altogether on that piece of equipment. So the 2 words of caution here. Always drive to 0 before you plug it back into the board, or overdrive it past 0 to ensure that it is closed, because you can't overdrive it closed. And then the second thing is, do not drive them way beyond their limits open, because you may cause damage to certain expansion valves, or they may become decoupled inside of that expansion valve itself on direct drive, not indirect drive. So see you guys on the next one.
Thanks for watching. If you're willing, give this video a thumbs up and drop us a comment. Don't forget to hit that bell icon to stay updated with all of our future videos. And as a quick reminder, HVAC School isn't just a YouTube channel. Dive deeper with us at our main website, hvacrschool.com. Curious for more knowledge on the go? We've got you covered. Tune into the HVAC School podcast, available on all your favorite podcast apps. And while you're at it, join our thriving Facebook group. Also, don't miss out on our free mobile applications available for both iPhone and Android. We're all about community. For techs, by techs.